I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. So we continue with Alma. We've been reading in the Western Theater of the War, Helaman and the taking and defense of the city of Cumeni. They are able to conquer the city through a siege, preventing the Lamanite army there from getting provisions. They eventually surrender, but then a new army arrives, and they have to defend the city from this new army, and they are saved by the timely arrival of the army that had been escorting the prisoners to Zarahemla. They return and are able to check the armies of the Lamanites, and they win the victory and maintain the city of Cumeni. That's what we read last time. We finished this chapter now. This is chapter 57. We're going to read the rest of it, picking it up in verse 24. And it came to pass that after the Lamanites had fled, I immediately gave orders that my men who had been wounded should be taken from among the dead, and caused that their wounds should be dressed. And it came to pass that there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. Nevertheless, according to the goodness of God, and to our great astonishment, and also the joy of our whole army, there was not one soul of them who did perish. Yea, and neither was there one soul among them who had not received many wounds. And now their preservation was astonishing to our whole army, yea, that they should be spared, while there was 1,000 of our brethren who were slain. And we do justly ascribe it to the miraculous power of God, because of their exceeding faith in that which they had been taught to believe, that there was a just God, and whosoever did not doubt that they should be preserved by his marvelous power. Now this was the faith of these of whom I have spoken. They are young, and their minds are firm, and they do put their trust in God continually. And now it came to pass that after we had thus taken care of our wounded men, and had buried our dead, and also the dead of the Lamanites, who were many, behold, we did inquire of Gid concerning the prisoners whom they had started to go down to the land of Zarahemla with. Now Gid was the chief captain over the band who was appointed to go to guard them. Now Gid was the chief captain over the band who was appointed to guard them down to the land. And now these are the words which Gid said unto me. Behold, we did start to go down to the land of Zarahemla with our prisoners. And it came to pass that we did meet the spies of our armies, who had been sent out to watch the camp of the Lamanites. And they cried unto us, saying, Behold, the armies of the Lamanites are marching towards the city of Cumeni. And behold, they will fall upon them, yea, and will destroy our people. And it came to pass that our prisoners did hear their cries, and caused them to take courage, and they did rise up in rebellion against us. And it came to pass, because of their rebellion, we did cause that our swords should come upon them. And it came to pass that they did in a body run upon our swords, in the which the greater number of them were slain, and the remainder of them broke through and fled from us. And behold, when they had fled, and we could not overtake them, we took our march with speed towards the city Cumeni. And behold, we did arrive in time, that we might assist our brethren in preserving the city. And behold, we are again delivered out of the hands of our enemies. And blessed is the name of our God. For behold, it is he that has delivered us, yea, that has done this great thing for us. Now it came to pass that when I, Helaman, had heard these words of Gid, I was filled with exceeding joy because of the goodness of God in preserving us, that we might not all perish. Yea, and I trust that the souls of them who have been slain have entered into the rest of their God. So here we have the story of the army that was escorting the prisoners. Remember in our last reading, Helaman gives them, along with the Stripling Warriors, the credit for saving the army and saving the city of Cumeni. So now we have an account of what actually happened. Gid is set over this army. They're escorting the prisoners. And at first everything is going okay. They leave, they camp for the night. The next morning, the spies and the Nephites come. Now the spies and the Nephites, these are the scouting guys. They're out scouting the land, seeing the movements of the Lamanites. They see the army marching on Cumeni. And they're going to warn Cumeni, but they pass by this army first. And they tell them what's going on. And when the Lamanite prisoners hear that there's a new army coming to join them, they break free. But they rushed as a body. In other words, the whole group, all the prisoners as one, charged the line of the Nephites. The Nephites had their swords drawn. The Lamanites literally rammed themselves onto the Nephite swords, so that those in the front all died. Probably the first, it says most of them died. But it was such a wall of men just pushing through that those that died weighed down the weapons, and the Nephites were unable to recover from that first wave, and the second wave is able to break free, and they get out. They are pursued for a short time, but eventually Gid says, no, we got to go back and help Cumeni. Notice it doesn't say that any of the Nephites were killed when the prisoners break free. The prisoners, their goal is not to kill the Nephites. Their goal is to escape and get back to their army. And so they just rush the Nephites, and as soon as they get past the Nephites, they run. There's no attempt on the part of the prisoners to kill the Nephites. So when Gid returns to Cumeni, he has his entire army. And they give the thanks to the Lord. The spies were able to warn the people. They were able to get the message to Gid so that he was able to return in time to save the army and save the city of Cumeni. Now we also have here the account of the Stripling Warriors. 200 of them fainted from loss of blood. Every single one of them, the 2,060, all of them suffer many wounds, most likely on their arms and legs, because that's where there's no armor protecting those spots. Well, there's armor on the forearms probably, but when you're in battle, those are the places that are most often hit. And so they probably have many wounds, hands cut, arms, legs. As I said, 200 had fainted from the loss of blood. All of them injured, none of them dead. The Nephites lost in total 1,000 approximately men, but none of them were of the stripling soldiers. That's the story that everybody knows. You know, the first time they fought with Antipas, when Antipas died, again, miraculous, none of them were killed, but we don't read about any of them being really injured. This is where most people know that they were all injured, none of them died. Now, remember, this is very similar to stories in the Old Testament. When the Israelites were attacking and conquering Canaan, we have stories of small armies of the Israelites going against much larger Canaanite armies, and none of the Israelites die. I believe when Gideon led his 300 men against the Midianites, none of his men died. So we have very similar stories in the Old Testament. God blesses people. This is not something that is reserved just for these 2,000. We have other examples of righteous men fighting in the cause of justice and the cause of God, and God preserving them. Anyways, we leave that here. I'm going to now turn back to chapter 55, returning to the story of Moroni. So I will see you there.